It is a great pleasure to be here to present this joint program between USI and Università Cattolica of Milan. This is the second year of this new joint master in European Studies in Investor Relations and Financial Communication, which is an interdisciplinary degree that has to do, to a large extent, with the intersection of two very distant domains, the distance of finance and the domain of finance and the domain of communication. You see here two very famous characters, very successful indeed. One is Janet Yellen, who was former chair of the Federal Reserve, so the central bank in the United States, and now he's been appointed Secretary of the Treasury. And the other guy that you see on the other side of the slide is, of course, Mario Draghi, former president of the BCE and now charged to form a new government in Italy. So two sides of the Atlantic, two people, and both have to do with finance, and both are very expert and adroit communicators. And look at what Mrs. Yellen was saying a few years ago. It was probably common to think of communication about future policy as something that supplemented the setting of federal funds rate. But now communication is an independent and effective tool for influencing the economy. And on the other side, the famous phrase, the famous "it will be enough" of Mario Draghi, there is another message that I want to tell you. Within our mandate, the ECB is ready to do whatever it takes to preserve the euro. That was this very decisive and also very rhetorically crafted message that ended the pressure on the euro and reduced the spread in 2012. So there is a huge area of intersection between communication and finance, and this master has to do with that. So basically, we want to train graduates that can communicate correctly according to the rules and according to the correct information, but also effectively in a European and international context on subjects that are complex in nature, like banking and finance, and that can manage institutional and interpersonal relations, taking into account also cultural differences, because we have this idea of finance as something global, as something very cold, but it's made of relations and also made of cultural specificities. And also to manage the various regulatory frameworks. So there is an important component of law in this program. So these professionals will be capable of relating different people and institutions, both within public institutions, in Swiss and European institutions and financial authorities, in private institutions such as banks, insurance companies, financial intermediaries, institutional investors, consulting firms. All these reality communicate with investors, communicate with the public, communicate with the various authorities that regulate the field of banking and finance. And also communicating with investors, such as the so-called ultra-high net worth individuals, so very wealthy individuals and families, entrepreneurial families, investors that need to be serviced by the financial industry and require a particular kind of service. So basically in this master you will be prepared to deal with the institutional, regulatory, economic, financial, but also the cultural issues such as inclusion, environmental sustainability, cultural and religious diversity, the need and the desire in many people of a finance that is also philanthropic. That might seem strange, but it's a reality. All these needs emerge in the context and of banking and financial activities. So in order to prepare these professionals that, as we will see later, work in different types of companies and institutions, we have created a master program that is combining 4 pillars. There is, you can see in the higher part of the slide, in red, the pillar of finance and accounting. So we need to understand the mechanism of finance, the language of accounting that is important for financial communication, a component of communication sciences that is very important, and also a component of actual proficiency in languages in their cultural context. The study of not only having a very good proficiency in English, which is the language of the master, is the language of the program, but also at least in another language, including both European and non-European languages. And finally, a law pillar, because we are dealing with a field that is delicate, that is highly regulated, that requires communication to respect the regulations and take into account the regulations. Other characteristic of this master, very important one, it's a joint degree that takes place in 2 universities, 2 cities. The first year is in Milan at the Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore. You see some iconic buildings from Milan, but also the iconic building of the Cattolic of University of Milan, where hopefully next year you will be able to have your classes. It depends also on the health situation. Università Cattolica di Milano is being very efficient in setting up distance learning, hybrid learning according to the varying health conditions, exactly as it happens in Lugano. You see the other side of the slides. The second year is in Lugano at USI. There again, an emphasis on the possibility of presential learning as soon as it is possible, but also clear capabilities of virtualizing the whole process. So let's have a sort of dive into the content of the first year. Content of the first year set up the foundations of finance and accounting, and also the statistical data analysis that is needed to deal with those matters, but also start building foundations of communication, and in particular the connection between communication and language. And so you have the possibility to work on perfecting your English, the English of business and finance, but also dealing in the specific context of finance with other languages, including, we will see in the electives, also non-European languages such as Arabic and Chinese. The second semester, you see again, works on the economic and financial foundation, but also introduces the regulation, the legal foundation. Now I leave the floor to Carlo for the second year of the master that will be in Lugano. So you can see Carlo Raimondo, who is the program coordinator in Lugano.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm the coordinator of the master for the Lugano part, and I'm going to present what happened in the Master of Science in Financial Communication and Investor Relations about the second year in Lugano. The first semester in Lugano, the third semester of the master, will see a number of courses that will dive your knowledge into the domain of financial communication, going straight to the main aspect of financial communication and its role and its uses on the financial markets. So we'll have a course about financial communication in general, a course about how to use accounting to strategically communicate to the investor and to the stakeholder, which is the course Communication Strategy in Financial Disclosure. Then you have a course about regulation of financial markets. And that's another one that compared to the first year course of Law of Financial Markets. This one in Lugano will focus more of an international comparison with the Swiss and non-European regulation, including the US and Asian country financial regulations. After that, you have a course about how to effectively communicating online, which is obviously something that is important also for the financial context, together with a course on international affairs and the effect on financial market and financial communication. The last course in the first semester in the second year is what we call the conversation with industry experts on private banking, which is a seminar in which we are going to present you with a real world application of financial communication, hearing directly from the people who are doing that on the market. And this will be related to the context of private banking and wealth management. And instead, in the second semester, you'll have a parallel course that is the conversation with industry experts on investor relations, in which instead you will have the occasion to speak directly with the professionals of the investor relation part. So the business communication, the financial communication, as seen as by the corporations and the listed company who want to communicate with the stakeholder. In the second semester of the second year, that is the first semester of the master, you'll have also the course of argumentation in finance, a course of investor relation, a course about sustainability in finance and the ethics of action on financial market, and last but not least, a course about how to deal with banking strategy and wealth management strategy, with a special attention devoted to the communication aspect of the banking managing system. After that, you can see that the World Study Plan leaves some space also for a little bit of customization that is in detail the possibility to choose some elective courses, both in Milan in the first year or in Lugano in the second year, for a total number of 12 credits. And among that, you can specialize your profile following your goals and your capabilities. So we have some courses that are related to the languages, Chinese, Arabic, Chinese, etc. Other courses about regulation and business, international financial market, for instance, in Milan, or in the second year, another vast array of other courses that are related to the different part of the master and the different part and the different content that could be interesting for your study. Which is the perspective for a graduate in the Master of Science in European Studies in Investor Relations and Financial Communication? So that's, I think, is a very important question that all of you should ask themselves in deciding which master to take and where to invest in the next 2 years of your life, and hopefully also a decision that will going to influence your life also in the medium to long run. That's also a part that we are very proud to present, because our historic record of graduates' stories are very promising for us. And let's say that since we are basically one of the few master programs all around the world, and the only one that we know specifically dealing with financial communication and investor relations in Europe, the world market that requires this kind of figure that are able to take together the financial capabilities together with the communication and the relation skills that are going to be very important on the financial market. So specific career that we are going to suggest to our laureates and our graduates are usually taking on are the careers related to the investor relations for corporation, the careers related to the ultra high network individual communication, what we call wealth management and customer management in wealth management. The career that are related to financial analysts, both on the buy side or on the sell side, means that they are working directly from an intermediaries or they are working for specific other institutions, specialists with relations with the government, third parties, the European institutions, and other specialized work like proxy advisor, investor engagement specialist, specialist in management and control function in public and private organizations. And then also a number of other careers could be possible, like the corporate reporting consultant, somebody who deals with accounting from a more strategic point of view, or a specialist in M&A and IPO communications, or also, again, financial journalist or content specialist for financial information platforms on the online side. And we want to conclude this short presentation with Mario Draghi's word, and believe me, believe us, it will be enough. Before I leave you, I want to give you also some more detail about practicalities and about what to do if you are going to decide to apply for the admission in the Master in Investor Relations and Financial Communications. So since the Master is managed together by two institutions, by two universities, all the administrative part is in charge in the first year at the University, at the Università Cattolica of Milan. And so you have to refer directly to their website and to the ASIR webpage on their website in order to get all the information about the admission. In terms of requirements, we are asking prospective students to have a bachelor degree in a related subject that could be economics, management, modern language, linguistic mediation, communication science, political science, international relations, or law. And inside of that, the students should have at least 8 credits in any of economics and management related subject and 6 credits in law related subjects. On the top of that, obviously you need to get to have a bachelor that is in line with the European standard, the Bologna process, 180 credits, but that's pretty standard nowadays. Then you have also some language requirements, and I invite all of you to go to the website to get all the information. Practically how to apply, go to on the website, both on the USI or on the Catholic University website, you get all the details. Please take in consideration that we have a slightly different procedure according to the university from where you came with your bachelor degree. So according to the bachelor degree you obtain, you have to follow different procedure. But all the information about the application will be available on our website, and I invite all of you to keep to look at that to get all the information. And also over there, you will have all the information about where we are starting to accept the application for this new program. Okay, from my side, I think that's it. This is a screenshot of the USI website related to the master, on which you get all the information and also our contacts if you want to directly speak with us. Thank you, and I really hope to see some of you in person in a few years in Lugano.